Welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith. Alright, today we're jumping back in on the hydraulic cylinder. We received our new replacement seals here yesterday, and I've kind of like gone through and just kind of like sized them up, and everything looks like it's good to go. We also picked up our ball hone 2 days ago. I think this came in Friday of last week. We were ready to go with this, and we got a piece of 1/2 inch stock with a I think I'm done drilling the 5/16 hole, and we're going to be setting this up and silver soldering this into a longer shank so that we can make up that difference that we need to get down to the bottom of this. The reason why we're using a ball hone versus a flat blade or a spring hone is we're trying to follow a bore. On hydraulics, your seals are rubber and they're flexing, and the hydraulic pressures actually create the pressure outward against the wall. And usually you have 2 ports, and most of the time those ports are welded on the side of the tube, and we all know that when you weld on something you draw it. So it's not like this bore was finished after the weldment. Actually, the tubes are usually cut off to the end, and you weld the barrel on the end, and then you have 2 ports, and you weld that fitting on there, and then it's cleaned up, painted on the outside, maybe a quick hone, and then it's assembled. There's allowable tolerances in the piston diameters and all that, and the amount of pull, usually not there. But back to the ball hone, it will flex. It'll grow out into the diameter that's swelled or distorted. This cylinder here, and I think more than anything else, it might have had dirt into play as well, but it really did look like transmission fluid to me. And it's not a good thing to substitute your hydraulic fluid with transmission fluid. I know that there are some hydraulic and transmission combinations that can switch back and forth, but standard hydraulic cylinders, working a wood splitter and stuff like that, is not a place for transmission fluid, in my mind anyway. When we were getting into the book and ordering the seals, we kind of found a little information about these seals that were put in on the Yard Man, and the low standards or low pressures rating that are on the seals that I found in this machine, or this cylinder here. Now I'm taking it that the way that I broke this loose, that what is in here is from factory, and you know, these are original supplied rings. Now I went ahead, and when I ordered the replacements to put in here, I went ahead and stepped up about another 3,000 psi worth of seals to put into this thing. These were on the verge of almost being pneumatic seals versus actually hydraulic seals. And that's what basically these just get a little bit on the stiff side, and they're not flexing out and creating a seal. Let's get to it. Alright, we cleaned the stem of the ball hone, and we cleaned out the hole that we drilled for it, and there's plenty of clearance in here. And basically, when you're putting 2 pieces together here, give a long length of the bore so that it'll hold it pretty well in line without it oscillating too much on you when you are spinning it. Of course, this is not a real high speed item anyway, meaning we're not going into 1,000 RPMs or whatever. This, you know, maybe 50 to 100 RPMs, that, you know, in the ballpark there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put some flux on here, some stay flux, and just white silver soldered flux, and we're kind of pushing it down into those grooves all the way around here, and we're going to flood it into this cavity so we know that we got plenty in there, and push that down in there, really get it moving around. We want to make sure well, We don't want to taste it, but all right. Get plenty down in there. All right. Wipe off the excess. Yeah, as you heat it, you build pressure up inside the bore, and the flux will come up and bubble around there. This is almost the perfect combination of silver soldering, because you don't have to drill a pocket hole or anything in on the side here, or hold it down in until you equalize all the metal temperatures and the pressures in there, which most of the time that's what I end up doing, because I get lazy or too much of a hurry, and I don't want to put in the groove down the side or the hole in through the side pocket. But if we're doing several of these at the same time, or one after another, I would probably drill a pisser hole or something like that in the side there. Alright, now I'm going to put on this old pair of gloves. You know, I don't know where my present gloves are at. And get some torch going on. The key to silver brazing is getting the stem hot and the shank hot at the same time. So gentle or slow heating, you can already see it's already spitting out. Starting to get a glow of red on the tube or the rod here, but it's a tube because I drilled it out. There's actually probably enough in there already to actually hold it. Alright, that's filled right up to the top. Alright, we'll let that cool down. And then we can spin it and check the straightness and bend it if we need to. Alright, this ball hone is made for 4.5, but it also states that it would go down to 4-inch bore. And it does. It's pretty tight in there, and there's nothing wrong with that. It actually makes it act kind of fast, and we're not going to need a whole bunch in here. We're just doing a quickie to really knock off, and I think we pretty well knocked off the highs. Maybe just a little bit more. I'm just feeling in here. Like I said, this is just 120 grit. We're not doing a fine hone on here. We're just knocking off real quick the high spots and the rough edges there. We're going to go down just another couple quick little wraps there, and we're going to be all done. That took about a whole 5 minutes, including putting the silver solder on there. Yeah, I'm happy. We're not trying to really change the diameter or anything. We just want to take the roughness out of the bore. We will have to flood this out and clean it. All right, I got this aimed into the bore here, and these are the up vertical scratches or scrapes that go up and down inside the bore here. You know, if you don't get that light exactly right on them. Alright, now out to that retainer lip there, over to where the grooves start. There's plenty of good surface right there that's holding the seal of the cap. Okay, so this is the travel scratches and grooves in here caused by dirt and stuff like that carried in, and what aided in that as well is that transmission fluid and then the cheap seals and guides and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and throw the hone in there for a little bit more and see if we can get some of those out. You know, those are down in here, but this area in here is pretty good. We've got all that clean. Those we can feel a little bit, and that's going to be the performance of the pressure, which is going to be enough on the cylinder anyway. And the main problem was leaking out of the cap and around the rod, which the seals are going to take care of that. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll throw the hone back in there and give it a couple more licks, and then we're going to wipe it and clean it and start assembling it. Now you want to know what I'm just using some ZEP 45. It's actually a penetrant lubricant, has Teflon in it. It's kind of my all-around grab it like WD-40 used to be. So I'm just keeping it wet in there. Having it tilted in this manner here, building up the fluid, I'm not losing it all over the place, and keeping most of it in here. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to waste out a couple rags, and I'm going to wipe out the bulk of it. See what we got. Oh, that's some suction, huh? We can lightly see them and we can lightly feel them in there. One heck of a lot better. There, now you can see, you know, after a pretty good hone there, most of them are out. We got one or two of those little deep ones like that. But how much of this bore we're going to remove, you know, getting those out of here. Alright, we're getting ready to, we're going to take a little bit out of this groove right here so the new seal will fit. This groove mics out or measures out to be about 250. And the new seal width here is about 275. And I believe it calls for 280 on the width in the book. The diameters and everything else are all fine, but we cannot find the right width of the seal to match this old cylinder, so we went ahead and procured a seal that would work for us in here, and we're just going to take about 20 thousandths off the side of one side here. So we're setting up in steady rest, and we're going to go ahead and bring this in so it's riding true. Put a center drill in here, support it with the center, and then we're going to cut that so that we don't have any vibration, and we're running true. Alright, I'm gonna use my Sandvik parting tool, and this is most of the time when you see me parting off, I'm I'm using an insert parting tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to choke this blade. This is our normal position that we like to run it, and the blade's not sticking out here, and we can stand our holders up on the edge there. We're going to choke this in real tight so that it's rigid side to side. And we're going to actually use that insert to skim both sides of that seal ring right there. He's going to go in there at a pretty swift speed. We're holding with the center here, and we need to widen that out 30 thousandths. It's 250 now, we need to go like 280. Step up the speed here a little bit. Okay, we're going to get a little light in here. Come in and we're going to touch in on that side. We're going to take 5,000. Okay, now we're going to go ahead, that's clean on that side right there, and we went down and touched down at the bottom there. And we're going to go ahead and touch up on this side here first and make a plunge all the way down. We're going to measure our width here. Okay, we're about 7 thousandths away from finish there. Okay, we got 280. That should be fine for that seal to fit in. Even with it in the package here. Let's bring it over to the edge here. Yep. Okay, that seal fits in there. See? Alright, ain't nothing we can do about the scores and everything else, and really that material is just, the seal should be making the contact. This shouldn't be rubbing the bore there. But definitely there was sand or something getting in there, going through the cylinder. This side looks pretty good. That side definitely looks like it's scoring. Alright, we're getting ready to assemble this, and we've got our cylinder all wiped out, and we have the rod piston assembly over there. And so we're getting ready to do the seals, and we're going to go ahead and we got one rod seal, one rod wiper. Those go in the bore of the rod end.
And on the OD of that, we get one O-ring and one backup ring that go in there. And then, of course, the assembling lock ring. That'll come into play once we get the two pieces together. Now, the piston seal has got an inner rubber ring, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to loop that up, and we're going to get that on. And then this is a, of course, I don't have the word for it right now. But anyway, this outside seal, I've had the best luck of going ahead and boiling them in water so that you get up the temperature on them and they become a little bit more pliable. And then we're going to stretch that on over afterwards. So this is kind of what we're going to do. First, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the head here taken care of, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go over to the piston and we'll start working on that. And then I'll go in and I'll find a dish. I'll put this in the microwave and boil the water, and then carry it and the water out in a little container or whatever I can find in the kitchen, or the wife will let me sneak out with, and we'll slap that on. All right. Now I like to install either Vaseline, or this is Super Lube. This is a white, petroleum non-metal lubrication here, and we want a good coating all the way around. Now some people like to assemble hydraulics by just dipping it in nice clean hydraulic oil and stuff like that, and of course I do have some around here, but this is kind of my way that I like, and this works for me. Alright, and then you always got to make sure you got this going in the right direction, because it only works in one direction. And just, it's kind of like a push down and roll in at the same time. And this has an inner O-ring in it, in the face of it, and you got to make sure that that never pops out as well. Thought I broke a nail. The bitch broke a nail. Alright, now we got the wiper, and we're going to do the same thing on this. And just a nice good coating all the way around. And also too, when you slide your components together, this really works good on helping get it to slide over the rod itself. There we go. I was wondering what was up. I didn't think I felt any burrs or anything in there, so alright, that looks good. That's actually, those are probably the hardest to actually install. And so now we're going to go ahead, we're going to head on over here. We're going to go ahead and put the rubber on, and we'll have this one on standby. These two here, we'll slide these on just as we're putting the cylinder on and get it started in there, or onto the rod there. Alright. Alright, same thing here on all four sides, on the bottom, inside, outside. At least you know that all your lube, or all your seals have got a moist surface on all sides there. Alright, and then this is probably one of the easiest things, and that just sits around. Now that's support. Once that groove was the right diameter on the inside, that was perfect, and for the diameter and everything else, and this seal. And the only thing that was needed was to have this thing wide enough for this seal to fit in here, and it was lacking 30 thousandths of being that size. Alright, we're gonna go, we're gonna take this seal in the house, and we're gonna find one of the wife's containers and put some water in it. We're gonna get it boiling in the microwave. It's about the fastest way. If I had an old coffee can, I would just throw it on a wood stove, and let it warm up and heat up that way. Just makes it a little more pliable, and then it goes on here easy, and then it kind of relaxes into place there. And then when we get ready to slide this into there, we're going to put a regular ring compressor right over it, and then help start it into the cylinder itself. Oh, what's cooking, man? All right, and this is nice and boiling. 3 minutes. It's hard to beat that. And so we're gonna fish it right out of there, and then we're gonna put it right on to there. And I'm gonna find my little scriber so I can dish it out of there. Okay, I didn't find my little scriber, but that's all right. We have you just go as bare minimum as you can to get it on there. All right. Now it always seems like these kind of seals are always stretched out. And it'll cool down, and it'll come in somewhat. But we're going to put the ring compressor over this, and we're going to squeeze this down in and put it in place. Alright, we're going to turn this around for a minute in the vise here. Because we're going to go ahead and we're going to slide on the rod end. And we already Vaseline in, or see how much I'm used to running Vaseline, but just some super lube on the shaft here. This is a bitch one. It's like that. Usually you slide over backwards on a rod here, and this is one of the reasons why. We're gonna make ourselves a shim so that we could like shoehorn it right on there. Well, that idea ain't gonna work. Okay, when all else fails, we're gonna put a 2-inch dummy in this way here, put it up against the end, and run it from one to the other. Okay, we got a piece of 2-inch tubing, and we twist it so we can get it past the wiper. All right, now we're bringing it down, and we just want to bring just to where it opens up the lip or on the pressure side of the hydraulic seal there. And Alright, we got it through there. Alright, now that we got it through there, alright, we got it on there. Alright, you can see why I wanted to wait to put these two seals on here, because we had to manhandle it. We wouldn't have had to do so much manhandling if that wasn't a cheap rod end and it had a regular threaded fitting, and they always have a nice lead angle, and you put your seals on backwards on the rod, and then you can go ahead and assemble your seal, and then everything goes in that way. This is really like a disposable hydraulic cylinder is what it is. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put on the last two seals. And I want to put on the backup ring here first. we should have really put these on from the other side, but that's gonna be fine. That'll fit in there fine. And of course, O-rings doesn't matter. You can they're gonna spring back into every shape there. All right. All right, now we're good to go. We're gonna go put a little bit of lube in the bore here. Very important that no matter where you're assembling seals and hydraulics, it should be clean. In the shipyards, they have clean rooms, and there's some other places too as well. Hydraulics has got to be assembled clean. Okay, even if you pull it apart and dirt roll out of it because of the owner, it still should be put back together clean. All right, so it's kind of like I'm not doing anything else except for assembling this cylinder, and I have it set up so that I'm not down in the dirt. Alright, now we're going to go ahead, and my favorite way to get these rings to make sure that I get them in right is to use a regular seal compressor. Alright, I've got the compressor on the end of there and I'm ready to go. This has a leading angle here, and then the inner groove for the ring to lock this head in here is radiused, and also the width of that is narrower than the width of the piston ring or seal, and so it should make it past that and on its way in and be gliding in no time. Alright, so but we got our hammer here set up, and we're gonna get that like that, and a rawhide hammer here. Alright. Alright, now we'll go ahead. I don't know if we'll have any problem with this, but it looks like it'll be fine. Yep. Alright, I like that. Alright, now this only goes in till that ring is exposed. And we're just watching, and right there's the ring. I like that. This thing almost didn't have any air. Alright, we're going to get it set up in the lathe so that we can take our wrench and draw the keeper back in. Now we're going to go ahead and here on the keeper, let's see if I can, okay, this should be close enough for you to see. That's raised materials from the galling that this thing took on the original assembly. See, there's orange paint in on the galling and down into the cracks. There's no way that would have happened on removal. So when they first drew this thing in the first time, they just wrapped it around and it galled as it went in, taking the orange paint and twisting it inside that groove. Alright, we're going to rotate our piece around until we find the hole that starts the drawing of the key or the pin. Alright, we got it right here. And this just goes down into that hole. And then just draws right around. Alright, we go past the hole just a little bit so it's 100% round inside there. Alright, and still got free motion. Everything's good to go. Alright, now we can pull the hydraulic cylinder out of here and set it on the floor and give the customer a call. Well, it's not the highest quality hydraulic cylinder that I've ever worked on, but it is very similar to almost every hydraulic cylinder. All your basic components are pretty close to the same. Every cylinder head, they come in and out at different ways. This happens to be one of the draw keys or draw rings, locking rings, and it's not unusual, but you know, not everybody knows how to take these things apart, and you know, I'm kind of glad that I was able to give you at least a tip on how those rings come out of there. And you know, you do need to have the right kind of tools to get in there. I mean, if I had a giant crescent wrench that was that big or whatever, you need to be able to turn it. You can see that it didn't need a lot. You know, if it fits right, you don't need a lot of effort in there. Anyhow, I hope this fluid and the care of this wood splitter it goes up in quality. You know, I can't say a whole bunch about Yard Man equipment. I saw a lot of shortcuts just in the making of a hydraulic cylinder. Come on. Get her done.